and feels guilty for inheriting Phoenix's power, but it's Joshua's strength, both emotional and physical, that will be deeply tested following the tragic events that changed the brothers' lives forever. Jill Warwick was taken from her homeland in the fallen Northern Territories to become a ward of Rosaria, securing peace between the two warring realms. After being raised alongside the Archduke's sons, she is seen as part of the Rosfield household as much as them. She is a treasured confidant of the brothers and is described as kind, gracious, and unassuming. Other characters taking the stage are Hugo Kupka, dominant of Titan, Benedicta Harmon, dominant of Garuda, Dion Lesage, dominant of Bahamut, and Barnabas Thatmir, dominant of Odin. Last but certainly not least is Torgal, the adorable wolf pup you see in the reveal trailer. As for whether Torgal will eventually play a role in combat, Yoshida says, you'll have to wait and see. By combining fast-paced, real-time action with a classic fantasy world setting, the development team hopes to capture as many people as possible with Final Fantasy XVI's combat. Yoshida has told IGN that translating traditional summon abilities into player actions and allowing for the real-time swapping and chaining of these abilities in battle has allowed us to create a system that not only looks great, but feels really good to play. It's important to note that you will only play as Clive in Final Fantasy XVI, a significant change from the majority of the series' past games. Clive will be accompanied by one or more companions for most of the journey, and they will both participate in battle and banter with Clive. However, they will be AI controlled. That's not to assume you'll quickly grow bored of playing as just Clive, though. He's armed with a full arsenal of powerful attacks and abilities based on traditional Final Fantasy summons, as well as the ability to cycle between those attacks and deal them in real time. Icon battles will also be different from each other. In one icon versus icon battle, it may be reminiscent of a 3D shooter. Another will look more like a pro wrestling match. A third will transform an entire arena into a battlefield for these icons to duel it out. Each fight will be unique since the team did not reuse these systems. Even the UI will be slightly different between each one. As a result, every icon versus icon confrontation should feel special and dynamic. Many perceive Final Fantasy to have stagnated as a series in the last few years, Yoshida among them. In an interview with Inverse earlier this year, Yoshida said that he believes the series is currently struggling to successfully adapt to and set industry trends. Final Fantasy hasn't had the best last decade. The release of the last mainline entry, Final Fantasy XV, was met with mixed responses, and they were all the more egregious in the wake of its publicly troubled 10-year development cycle. Final Fantasy XIV has achieved arguably one of the best redemption stories in the industry, but it began as one of Square Enix's biggest failures and has taken years of support and massive content additions to reach its current revered status. Final Fantasy XIII was generally received positively, but its flaws were heavily panned, and its multiple sequels didn't inspire overly enthusiastic responses. The last universally critically acclaimed Final Fantasy from the get-go was Final Fantasy XII, which came out over 15 years ago. While Final Fantasy XIV is thriving and still setting records, the single-player Final Fantasy games need to spark much more excitement than they have in the recent years. Final Fantasy XVI seems poised to try to represent a reassurance of the series' future. With aspirations to be a mature evolution for the series, an eagerness to try new things that have never been seen in the franchise before, and project leaders with impressive track records, Final Fantasy XVI might just achieve that goal. Only time will tell if the light of the crystals will result in a brighter future for Final Fantasy. For more on Final Fantasy, you should check out our extensive look back on the history of the series' summons. And for everything else video games, stick with IGN.
After an age of the cruelest tyranny, man finally defeated its overlord. But gods do not fall forever. The champions of war united and began the eternal watch over their tyrant's colossal remains. For some forces, even death cannot end. But now, eons later, the fallen god's influence pervades the world again, corrupting even sworn enemies. Join his accursed lords of the fallen and damn humanity to a new age of devastation. Though from these darkest days, new heroes arise. To defy the gods, one must embrace the darkness. And so lies our only hope.
Mother, tell your children not to walk my way. Tell your children not to hear my words. What to be, what to say, mother.
Wish list now.
In the meantime, quitting cold turkey is not an option, and something is needed to feed the craving. Luckily, many other developers are just like us and have those cravings too, and turn their addiction into games that you can play right now. So if you're like me and you just need something to hold you over until Diablo 4 is out, here are 6 games you can play right now to satisfy your craving while you wait.
Blessed Mother, save us.
Among ancient ruins, evil grows once more.
Diablo 2 lovers, rejoice! If Diablo 2 Resurrected has become stale for you, it might be time to check out Path of Exile. Grinding gear games clearly set out to entice the Diablo 2 diehards with Path of Exile, but aims for more complex and robust skill, itemization, and in-game systems. The free-to-play PoE takes ARPGs to another level with massive passive skill trees, tons of unique gear, ever-evolving skills to utilize through skill gems, loads of content, and an endgame designed to keep you playing and playing. Don't fear the free-to-play model though. Path of Exile's monetization system is purely cosmetic on every level. You won't find a single pay-for-power avenue in the game. I won't lie though, if you truly get deeper into the endgame, you will be enticed to open your wallet to expand your game's stash. From in-game zones called maps, to heist missions, to an endless dungeon that gets progressively harder as you delve deeper, you will surely run out of steam before you complete everything this game has to offer. And if you're a seasoned ARPG player, Leagues will entice you to do it all over again. Leagues in Path of Exiles are essential to the longevity of player engagement, as these, similar to Diablo games, start your characters from nothing. Through Leagues, players will be able to engage in the newest content added to the game. While Last Epoch is still currently in the early access beta, it fits itself nicely right in between Path of Exile and Diablo 2. Whereas Path of Exile prides itself on the complexity of its systems, Last Epoch aims to ensure players are informed on its own less complex designs to keep you in-game and slaying monsters. Last Epoch sets itself from the others from its weapon crafting and focus on in-game dungeons. Crafting in Last Epoch at first can be a bit off-putting as you face the inevitable disappointment of rendering a piece of gear worthless due to the roll of the dice. Rest assured that as you're playing, gathering new loot and materials, this crafting system becomes the optimal avenue to how your power grows in the game. There's nothing quite like rolling the exact stat you need that sends your build over the edge. Newcomers to Last Epoch can even use the various build guides that exist, as there is a dedicated player base who have done all the homework for you and can guide you through the endgame. Speaking of the endgame, Last Epoch has what they call monoliths and echoes. This is somewhat similar to mapping in Path of Exile, where you'll see a web of maps that you load into to slay monsters, complete simple objectives, and acquire loot. The ecosystem in this game allows you to target farm specific gear pieces and materials you need by giving you a preview of what rewards you'll obtain upon completion. This is great when you're feeling light in specific areas of your build or are just low on resources.
We paid a heavy price, but the trap worked.
You seem surprised.
It's been a while since we've had a win.
Guns. Grim Dawn has guns. That's a nice change of pace, right? When all other ARPGs are about wands and swords and other various sorts of fantasy elements, Grim Dawn lets you shoot the undead right in the brain. Okay, that's not the only reason it's on the list. In a world where Diablo 3 took a more colorful aesthetic or cartoony look, Grim Dawn brings out the grittiness of a post-apocalyptic world in yet another game where humanity is in peril and you must use your powers to vanquish evil. And yes, it's got scepters, swords, jewelry, and all sorts of manners that you can expect from ARPG itemization. The deep character customization provided by Crate Entertainment makes for a satisfying journey to the level cap of 100. Stat bonuses on gear earned while playing will take your character's power to newer heights. For the endgame, players can look forward to modes like the Crucible or the Shattered Realm, which is an endless dungeon that gets progressively more difficult as you progress. One of the more satisfying parts of Grim Dawn are the sheer amounts of builds players can put together. Expect to spend lots of time swapping playstyles and even creating new characters to experience new ways to play with all the tools available at your disposal. Grim Dawn also has one final thing that a lot of ARPGs refuse to have: auto-loot crafting materials. So simple, yet such a wonderful feature.
The corruption has reached the colonies. If we don't stop it, humanity will have nowhere to hide.
Have you ever wanted to play Diablo in space? Well, that's what you'll get with Superfuse. Sorta. Superfuse, which is currently only available on Steam, is in a very early access state. Like most ARPGs of its kind, Superfuse is a game that owes its addictive gameplay loop and loot system to Diablo 2. This isn't a knock against the game by any stretch, as the devs actually wear that as a badge of honor and wholly lean into it.
Go time!
Let's get to work.
Superfuse manages to set itself apart in two ways: its theme and its innovative skill system. Wearing a comic book style coat of paint, Superfuse is set in the distant future within our own solar system. You'll be sent all across various planets to fight hordes of gross mutated monsters in order to bring down the Man in a dystopia where billionaire corporate rulers have a vice grip around the survivors on the now dead Earth. On top of this setting, Superfuse's skill system can become incredibly addicting, as there are so many cool and unique ways to customize your skills and slot fuses to grow your power and drastically change how your skills behave. Turn a basic fireball into a giant blob of flames that arc into the air at a slower pace but for massive damage increase. Getting creative is a must when slotting these fuses. One thing to keep in mind at the same time of this recommendation is that Superfuse's early access is very limited on content. While they are still updating the game, the in-game is in its infancy and can leave much to desire as you get more and more familiar with it.
The Lost Ark is now but a myth.
After several years in testing markets, Amazon unleashed Lost Ark to Western markets. Upon release, there was a major surge in popularity, and to this day, Lost Ark still retains a very healthy player population. While there aren't a ton of similarities to any Diablo game, considering it's an MMO first, Lost Ark has what makes games like Diablo just so damn fun. Tons of monsters on screen, and a myriad of skills that decimate them all in a satisfying blaze of glory. When you start Lost Ark, you essentially start with most of your skills available to use in exchange for a different type of power growth system where you level specific skills. Upon reaching the endgame, you can look forward to doing things like epic, large-scale dungeons, monster raids, daily and weekly quests that send you all over this vast world this game has, and a gear leveling system to even further push the boundaries of your power. Though free to play, Lost Ark does offer players the option to buy in-game currency and crafting materials that can drastically improve the grind for increasing your gear score. So while there are some slight pay-to-win avenues in Lost Ark, everything can be easily achieved without spending a dime.
The people pray for strength and guidance. They should pray for the mercy of a swift death.
By now you might be saying, well, obviously. Hear me out. Yes, of course Diablo 3 is the most recent mainline entry to the franchise, but when was the last time you played it? Diablo 3 is currently in its 28th season. With it came arguably the biggest update since, well, the game got good. Enter the Altar of Rites, Diablo 3's Season 28 theme and main new mechanic. The altar acts as a new passive skill tree. Do certain activities in the game to acquire specific materials, then sacrifice them to gain cool new traits like spawn pylon and shrine effects when consuming a potion or having pets pick up all the trash loot on the ground and auto-dismantling the gear from materials. Finishing the entire tree even gets you double primal ancient drops and some cool wings. The Altar of Rite makes for a really fun season that shifts the way you play Diablo 3. If there ever was a time to return to the game, it's now. Especially considering, per Blizzard, Diablo 3 will not see any new content updates after Diablo 4 launches. Instead, it will only be recycling past seasons going forward.
Let's see what we can do.
And that's it. Off you go. Take this information, figure out what best suits your needs and what will satisfy the urge, and in no time you'll find the wait for Diablo 4 is becoming that much easier. You can be certain that IGN will be covering Diablo 4 up until its release this summer, and even more so as the game evolves over its lifespan. Until then, for all your Diablo 4 cravings, stick with IGN.
Our true work begins.
At the dark end of the street, that's where we always meet. Hiding in the shadows while we don't belong. Living in the darkness to hide our wrong.
IGN Rewards is your one-stop shop for exclusive giveaways, discounts, and game codes. And all you have to do to unlock it is become a member of the IGN community. Now, signing up on IGN.com/rewards gives you access to exclusive in-game items, beta access for upcoming titles, and tons of special sweepstakes. And it's all for free. So head on over to IGN.com/rewards and check out IGN Rewards today.
The shrine forge used to create this binding stone was
under all that sand.
What matters now is that we have a location for a location.
Ley lines are too unstable in that storm, and they will have powered down their portals.
Get prepped for a combat drop.
Signals up! Let's go!
already figured out the solution, Jack. We win.
You don't win in ever war.
Who are we? What are the dominants? The power we wield. It wears away at our very being. It breaks us. It unmakes us. That its immaculate aspect might reveal itself. The icon.
There's going to be another war, isn't there?
Every day we delay brings us closer to disaster. We must move now.
The chaos he would wreak would sweep all of Valisthea into the abyss.
I unite the dominants, that we may bring an end to the strife, and found a new order to see us unto tomorrow.
If I take the field, our doom will shake the island to its foundations.
There will be losses, it is true. Yet for every citizen who falls, another can be bred. For every home that burns, another can be built. The Empire will live on.
Awaken, child of fate. Awaken, if free.
We're close to Rubicon. Wake the dog up.
Handler Walter, verified. Activating cerebral coral control device. Augmented human C4621 has awakened.
infamous handler Walter's hounds. Interesting. You ready to climb the wall?
Call sign Raven. Priority subject for termination. High on the list.
A coral response from the generator. Watch out.
Why hide behind another's call sign?
Let's see how far they can fly. On borrowed wings.
We just got a brand new look at the first Armored Core game in about a decade. The highly anticipated Armored Core 6, The Fires of Rubicon. But that's not all. IGN also got a chance to get a sneak peek at the trailer in advance, along with some added insight from the developers at From Software themselves to break down some of the finer elements of the trailer. So, with that said, let's rewind and take a closer look at the first gameplay trailer for Armored Core 6. The trailer opens up on a shot orbiting the planet Rubicon, the setting of Armored Core 6's story. The trailer doesn't explain much about what's happening here, but From Software was kind enough to fill me in on some backstory and context. Armored Core 6 takes place in a universe where space travel has become commonplace, and extraterrestrial corporations and resistance groups are fighting over control of a rare substance known as coral.
Activating cerebral coral control device.
Which, as it happens, is only found on the planet Rubicon. Coral is a mysterious substance that is not only extremely valuable, but also very versatile, as it can be used in fuel, materials, and even medicine. Hence, the struggle and fighting over it. You play as a mercenary who finds himself on Rubicon in the midst of this struggle for coral, working under the infamous handler, Walter.
One of the infamous handler Walter's hounds.
Rubicon itself is a mining planet that was hit by a cosmic catastrophe that scorched the planet, which we can actually see back in the first reveal trailer for AC6. So, this is a post-apocalyptic planet, and our story picks up several decades after the catastrophe. There are several different locations that were shown here to give us an idea of the kind of spread of maps that we're going to be seeing in the various missions of Armored Core 6. We've got this one that shows the giant man-made shells that enclose parts of the planet Rubicon. There's a humongous military base that is several kilometers across and carved within the ice, and an underground facility hidden deep within the surface of the planet that eventually expands outward into an underground dungeon. With regards to the map design, I was told that the developers prioritized, quote, tempo changes through movement and an abundance of situations. While Armored Core and the Soul series are obviously very different genres, the developers told me that they're looking to apply their map design expertise honed during the development of the Soul series. Now let's jump ahead again to some of the combat, and you'll note that, yeah, it's pretty fast-paced. But it's also got a tactical base as well thanks to the sheer amount of customization options that you have with regards to your mech. You can dramatically change your fighting style based on your choices of what to outfit your mech with. Like here, we see that changing out the mech's legs to a quadruped allows it to hover and rain down fire from above. Contrast that to this bit, where the mech has tank-like treads and is able to bulldoze and power slide through enemies. And then of course you have the traditional bipedal loadout with lots of bursty movement that lets you dart in and out of both long and close range. FromSoft described the combat system as being highly dynamic, and one that rewards careful but aggressive play. There's a stagger system at play too that forces the enemy into a system's down state when the player is able to continuously hit them with consecutive strikes. That said, the player is also bound by these same rules, which leads to this really tense push and pull where the player must consider when to get up close and be aggressive and when to back off to avoid getting staggered. Fortunately, transitioning between ranged and close combat is seamless, allowing players to employ both options freely. And finally, the trailer wraps up with a look at some of the bosses you'll face off against. One of the core pillars of design in Armored Core 6 is for it to be a game that gives players, quote, the satisfaction of overcoming challenging situations and earning hard-won victories. Boss battles will be a key feature, and they are designed to be battles that players will be expected to attempt multiple times, learning and adapting to the boss's unique attack patterns with every attempt. And that is our breakdown of the Armored Core 6 Fires of Rubicon trailer. with some much-needed help and context provided by From Software themselves. For more Armored Core 6 coverage, make sure to check out our interview with producer Yasunori Ogura, where we go into a little more detail about the story, combat, and what it's been like for From Software to return to such a foundational mecha franchise. And for everything else, keep it here on IGN.
Let's see how far they can fly. On borrowed wings.
実に光栄です。Round 1. Fight!
'Tell me,
Why have you come here? We must all cure ourselves of the entire cult of the Absolute. I've traced people like you. People with parasites in their brains. All the way here from Baldur's Gate. You may just be the godsend we've been praying for.
You're the same as me. You have a mind flayer tadpole in your brain. Let's try to find a solution together, before it's too late.
There's a gust of weave about you, but it's a mere breeze. I need a tempest.
Who am I? Your only chance of survival.
You want to play the hero so badly?
Fine. Let's make this interesting. We fight, we die, and we just hope that when our time comes, there is someone else to take our place.
My, this place is fun.
There's someone I want you to meet. A friend who sees the world in simple terms. In simple terms. Not just a friend. A legend. He's not the kind of man who takes kindly to captivity. The cult captured him. I almost feel sorry for them.
From the roughly 20 hours of adventuring in Baldur's Gate 3 at its early access launch, I can already tell you this is probably the closest a story-focused RPG of this kind has come to emulating the experience of tabletop Dungeons & Dragons. The systems here allow me to do exactly the kind of clever but ridiculous things I would ask a human dungeon master if I can do, rather than the simple no you would get from most RPGs when you ask if you can skip an entire quest by climbing around the backside of a mountain and sneaking into the bad guy's lair. Baldur's Gate 3 will tell you to roll for it. It's an impressive start, but it's definitely a very early access game. There are just enough frustrating bugs that a lot of people are going to be better off waiting until it's finished before jumping in. The flexible interactions between character abilities and the world allow each class the chance to shine in ways they normally wouldn't. My elven wizard always had a spell prepared that triples a target's jump distance. While this would be very situational in most games, not really worth spending a spell slot on, in BG3 it can allow you to reach hidden treasure, gain a vantage point to rain down destruction with advantage, or even bypass obstacles entirely by taking to the rooftops. I ended up having to remind myself to take at least a few combat spells because I was so excited about all of the interesting ways I could use the utility ones in combination. I like to play my wizards on the tabletop as sort of a mystical Swiss Army knife, not the glass artillery pieces they are in most digital RPGs, and I'm thrilled to be able to do that here. Larian treats level design and environmental interactions as part of how you win battles and solve puzzles, and it works brilliantly in their envisioning of Faerun. The turn-based combat is also well done, though. It feels faithful to the 5th edition D&D rules, but also knows when to deviate to avoid being slavishly accurate to a fault. Many of the classic D&D-based games, including the first 2 Baldur's Gates, did themselves a disservice trying to force the square peg of real-time fights into the round hole that is the D20 system. Combat in tabletop D&D has always been turn-based, and this is how it should be. Initiative rolls to determine who goes first really matter. It's much more comfortable to take stock of the situation and marshal your resources while contemplating how to control the environment. Sure, real-time combat can work, especially in games where you're mainly controlling one character. But in this type of game works so much better and feels so much more faithful to its tabletop inspiration with turns. Baldur's Gate 3 has also done an amazing job of grabbing my attention from the very beginning. One issue I had with Larian's Divinity Original Sin games, particularly the first one, is that they start out very slow and meandering before picking up steam. This adventure, on the other hand, is compelling from the very first minute. It is so rich with exciting characters, locations, and plot developments along the way that I never got bored. The cast is memorable and complex, with excellent voice acting and dialogue writing even for minor players.
Don't you hear it? It's so peaceful.
On the other hand, I was fairly disappointed that there are currently only 6 classes available in Baldur's Gate 3's early access version, and they're somewhat understandably the most basic ones: Fighter, Wizard, Cleric, Rogue, Ranger, and Warlock. My favorite base D&D classes, Barbarian, Druid, Sorcerer, and Paladin, are nowhere to be found. I imagine more will be added as we get closer to the full release, but for the moment the options are fairly limited. To make up for this, though, the list of playable races is fairly extensive. 3 different kinds of tiefling? Half drow? Larian has gone above and beyond the obvious here, especially since NPCs out in the world will absolutely react to your character's background. All of that being said, Baldur's Gate 3 is technically a bit of a mess at times. There are plenty of bugs ranging from hilarious AI glitches to frustrating progression blockers that make entire quests impossible to finish. Without spoiling a major story beat, at one point I killed a major character who was annoying me, and their followers standing just outside the door never seemed to react to that fact. Right now it's in playable but fairly rough shape. The technical issues are understandable for early access, but if you want a polished and pain-free experience, I have to recommend waiting for the full release. There is enough here worth being really excited about that I feel Baldur's Gate 3 deserves to be enjoyed with fresh eyes when it's done, or at least much further along. You'll find numerous moments of genuine storytelling greatness, an exciting and effective turn-based combat system, and freedom to use the abilities of the various classes in outside-the-box ways. I really had fun with what's here, but if I had it to do over again, I probably would have waited. For more dungeon crawling, check out our reviews of Spelunky 2 and Hades. And for everything else, keep it right here on IGN.
Now don't forget to visit IGN Rewards for your chance to take part in all the giveaways happening all summer long. Now we're talking about a $100 PlayStation gift card and an actual PS5, plus so much more. Now just go on over to IGN.com/rewards right now and sign up to become a member of our growing community. Now there's tons more benefits like beta access to games, free game codes, all that stuff. But for now, let's kick off our pre-show coverage for Sony's PlayStation Showcase.
This is IGN's Summer of Gaming, and today it's Sony's time to shine. Close to 40 million PlayStation 5 consoles have been sold since it launched, but what's in store for the rest of 2023 remains a mystery. Will we get a release date for Marvel's Spider-Man 2? Will Naughty Dog finally show how The Last of Us is handling multiplayer? What about all those remakes like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Silent Hill 2, and Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic? Will Sony show PSVR 2 some love? Will any of these questions be answered? Well, luckily we don't have to wait long to find out. The IGN Summer of Gaming PlayStation Showcase pre-show kicks off right now. Beyond and hello and welcome to IGN's Summer of Gaming. Today, Sony is officially kicking off video game event season with a PlayStation showcase, and we're expecting it to be jam-packed with big announcements and reveals. I'm your host, Max Scoville, and here to break down what we might see today are my esteemed colleagues.
Yeah!
Dana Griffin and Akeem Lawson. What's up, guys?
It's finally here.
I'm excited. We're hoping that we get some PlayStation news, some big, cool, exciting stuff to get excited about. Before we get started, IGN's Summer of Gaming is going on all throughout June, and because exciting gaming events can strike when you least expect them, be sure to check out the full calendar on IGN.com so you're not caught off guard. Now, about those friendly neighborhood video games, one of the biggest PS5 games on the horizon that we know about is Spider-Man 2, Insomniac's much-awaited Spider-Man full sequel, not counting the sort of half sequel we got. Brian, what do you think we're going to see?
I mean, this has to be the day we get the big gameplay reveal,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So there's been a lot of rumors around this one. We know for sure it's launching this year, or as for sure as any video game launch window release date could possibly be. Tony Todd, who plays Venom, leaked that the game is supposed to come out this September with a big marketing push in August, and then tweeted from his hot tub, sorry,
it was
don't...
a fever dream.
Yeah, none
what he
of
said.
that happened. We do know that this is a PS5 exclusive game. This will not be held back by ancient tech from, 2013 at this point, the PS4. This has Peter Parker and Miles Morales in it, so we'll get 2 Spider-Mans. But we know that there isn't co-op. Insomniac had to come out and say this is a single-player game, but I cannot wait to see what this game looks like. This is going to be one of the biggest games of the entire generation. Arguably, probably, I would say, going to be one of the most beautiful games that ever graced the PS5. Insomniac are absolute wizards when it comes to tech, and I can't wait to see what they do with this game.
No, it's definitely something to be excited about. They've said that they want it to be their best game that they've made to date, which is cool. But I'm really, really excited about the other game they're working on, which is about another beloved Marvel character, which is, of course, Marvel's Wolverine. Akeem, you are excited about this.
Yes, I am super duper excited. Now, the 2023 Lunar New Year calendar will have you believe that this is the year of the rabbit, but us rabid video gamers out there, I think this is the year of the Wolverine.
Do you think this year is the year of the Wolverine?
This is the year of the Wolverine.
Wolverine?
Absolutely. It has to be, right?
So. No.
Like back, so 2021, during PlayStation's last showcase, like we got like a 54-second teaser trailer, which had, young man Logan, at the Princess Bar in Madripoor sipping on $8 whiskey sours. But that was enough, though. That was enough to kind of like galvanize the fans and get us really excited. What I'm hoping that we see this year, honestly, want a little bit more information about the game. It'd be a pipe dream to say that, we're going to see gameplay. I would love to see some conversations with some of the game devs to see how far along they are. I want to see what heroes, what villains are going to be a part of this. Obviously, we know Sabretooth is going to be a part of it, some of the X-Men. But last but not least, I really want to know who's going to be voicing Wolverine. And if it's going to be the legendary Cal Dodd. Everyone, y'all know him from the animated series. He's the OG voice of Wolverine. He also voiced him in all the video games, Marvel vs. Capcom 1, 2, 3. I don't have how many Capcom versus Marvel games there are. He's the voice. So those are things that I want, and those are things that I hope we get today.
So I love the original voice actor. I'm hoping they have him back for X-Men 97, the cartoon. But they've had, it was the guy who voices Spike Spiegel. I'm drawing a blank.
Oh my goodness.
We're doing great here.
We all failed the pop quiz.
But he's done. He voiced him, I think, in some of the more recent stuff.
Yes.
And including Midnight Suns. But I want to see this game so much, but I feel like we're going to see way more Spider-Man up front.
Bloom?
Way more. Yes. Steve Bloom.
Steve Bloom.
Yes.
You win.
I win. Bam. We got it. Thank you, chat, for helping us out.
They did not help. I figured that out on my own.
Anyway, I think it's going to be Steve Bloom. That's my guess. But I would love to see the let's open up these tin cans. This one's for you.
Now they said,
I want classic costumes. Like I want the animated suits. And Insomniac's so good at that.
They're so good at that.
Yeah.
But I think this game is a ways off. I think we're not going to see it for quite some time. I think we just found out that the combat designer for Jedi Survivor is now working on this, which is really cool.
Good news.
But it also means that they are I think probably still pretty early on, unless they've been focusing on I don't know, his cigar smoking mechanics. They're like, we'll do the combat now. Let's get to that. Let's save it for later. That said, very excited that we've got not one but 2 big, huge Marvel games in the works. Now, one big, huge first-party thing that we know about, but that we've seen surprisingly, almost comically little, is Naughty Dog's Last of Us multiplayer. Jada, what do you think we're going to see? We've seen 2 pieces of concept art.
We're going to get a 3rd piece of concept art. 3 years, 3 pieces of concethink art. It's a marketing strategy. What a concept.
Wow. No more concept art. Just the game.
I think honestly, because we, this is Naughty Dog's next big thing.
Yeah.
Like, they need to show off something big here. I really hope we get a trailer of some sort, maybe a beta dates, maybe not a beta dropping right now, but some dates like, hey, there's a beta coming in early 2024, along with a quick teaser gameplay of what it's going to look like, because this can't be Factions from 2013 or the remake that they did on PS4, 5 years later?
Right.
It needs to be more. We've had MOBAs, we've had Battle Royales, there's all types of other different multiplayer games that have come out, and I'm expecting big things from them. They said they're doing cool things with the story. I want to know what that story is going to look like. How are we telling all these stories as these different characters? Are we all going to be running around named Billy, killing each other so we can learn Billy's story? I don't know.
My name's Billy.
Billy.
I'm gonna run around and kill another Billy.
We need to know. Tell
With
me.
a Billy Club.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, we need to know more about that.
Yeah, no, it is kind of crazy to think how long ago the original Factions came out and how much multiplayer, sort of just the entire culture surrounding it, has shifted since then. And the big thing now is, of course, games as a service, and we've heard that Sony is focusing very hard on making more multiplayer games as a service, stuff like that. And I imagine this is going to be one of the big ones they're leading with. And Last of Us has been selling great across the board, since day one, but it just this year got a huge sort of spike of new interest from the HBO show, which blew up. So there's a lot of people who are suddenly paying attention to that that series that maybe weren't in the past. I don't know. I'm curious what we can see here. Again, I would also love to see maybe something entirely new from Naughty Dog. But hey, third piece of concept art would also be
very exciting. We got a building first, and we got a boat. Maybe we'll get a car next.
Yeah.
Or a plane.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Now, in addition to all of the very cool first-party stuff that Sony has in the works, there's also a bunch of third-party projects that we sort of know about, some we've heard rumored. Let's talk about some of those. Now, obviously, Brian, you are a huge fan of FromSoft. We know that FromSoft has Armored Core 6, Fires of Rubicon, that's coming out later this year, but there's also the possibility of Soulsborne stuff. Like, we know that there's... What do you think we're going to see?
Well, which do you want to start with? The big one?
I mean, we got to get out
what I really want.
The thing we want, we put it on our Christmas list every year. We want a pony, and in this case, the pony is Bloodborne 2.
Yeah, the pony is a skeleton horse, and it's been rotting on the side of the cobblestone streets for months. Bloodborne 2 or a remaster of Bloodborne is at the top of my FromSoft must-have, must-want list, right? Like, we know Elden Ring's happening, DLC or whatever, but which I'm excited for. We'll get to that in a second. But Bloodborne is a game that has a massive cult following. I think it has the best art direction of any video game ever made. It is incredible. It's also kind of dated. It runs at sub 30 frames per second. It's got some texture pop-in issues. It's kind of jaggy by modern standards. I really want something that just soars on PS5, and FromSoft knows how much people love this game, and studios like Bluepoint in the past have taken beloved PlayStation IPs, given them a kick in the ass and made them look really good. Demon's Souls at the launch of the PS5, for starters. So I would love to see Bloodborne return in some capacity. More realistically, we know that FromSoft is working on Elden Ring DLC. That is their best-selling game of all time. It is one of the biggest games ever. It is phenomenal, and so their DLC has to be huge. It's got to be a big open-world area with a bunch of new monsters and stuff to fight. So
I want to build a dungeon. I want to build a dungeon, make you guys come into my dungeon, and let me just kill you.
I don't know if I want to go into the dungeon.
Why don't you go over there?
This is blood from the other person who have invaded my other dungeon.
Just come into our realm and kick our asses there.
I don't deliver. I don't deliver ass kicking.
I'm not going over there. I'm not going to your dungeon. I don't know.
I'm not going to your house to get my ass.
Jada, you were good at kicking some ass, and you have your work cut out for you this year, because there are not one, not two, but three massive new installments in beloved fighting game series on the immediate horizon. We've got Street Fighter 6 coming out very soon. We've got Mortal Kombat
September
1.
Yeah, 1.
Formerly known as 12, coming out sometime later this year.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's also Tekken 8, which is kind of waiting in the wings. And what do you think we're going to see from all of these, any of these?
I'd be surprised if we see more Street Fighter 6, just because it's out in a week and a half. But also, they've been doing so much marketing around it. I wouldn't be surprised if we got a little bit more showing off some of their other modes or something like that. I really hope that we get to see more Mortal Kombat 1. I want to see some actual gameplay. I want to see what the fights are going to look like, because the trailer looked great. But that's pretty much all it, and we've got so many new things from Street Fighter and Tekken that's to be shown off. Like, Mortal Kombat needs to show up to the party as well. because they're late. They're already late to the party.
Mortal Kombat will be at Keighley's Summer Games Fest thing.
Yes.
But I do wonder if we'll get a little tease of this now. Like in the olden E3 days, like a game would show up to multiple events or conferences, but everything is scattered now.
Yeah, well, and we'd get like unique PlayStation stuff that's like specific PlayStation.
So my theory there, and this is complete speculation here, but you typically see a publisher align themselves with one platform.
Right.
And I feel like Mortal Kombat was Xbox last gen, but just recently the Hogwarts Legacy sales cleaned up for WB on PlayStation. That was very much branded as a PlayStation game. So I could see them kind of, staying in bed for Mortal Kombat 11. 12, 1, sorry. That's
13, 44.
Will Kratos,
last
best,
now.
will Kratos show up in any of these games?
I hope so. He'd be a great DLC character.
So there's been stuff that's leaked. There's been a lot of kind of, people have seen roster stuff. I don't want to, spoil this, but people have seen, what is it? It's Homelander,
Omni-Man.
and Omni-Man, and like a Jean-Claude Van Damme skin, I think.
Well, that's part of the DLC. That's the Jean-Claude Van Damme skin is a skin for Johnny Cage.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense. But yeah, I love that Mortal Kombat in its modern sense. It used to be like you would get DLC, like weird side character stuff later on, but now that is coming in very much like front and center. It's become like this wonderful kind of like R-rated, M-rated Smash Bros, where it's just like you get like Leatherface or the Xenomorph or
Ninja Turtles,
Homelander, sure,
RoboCop for some reason.
Yeah, they're all there.
Yeah, he's there.
I'm very much into that. I'm excited to see that. Now, of course, another thing we've been hearing a lot about is Silent Hill. We know that Silent Hill 2, the remake, is on the way. Akeem, you're a big Silent Hill fan. What else can we expect to see?
Well, I just got to say this. After years of Konami giving us the silent treatment as fans, years of us thinking that the Silent Hill franchise was over the Silent Hill, Konami climbed to the top of that very hill, and they presented us with not one, not two, not three, but 4 new Silent Hill video games. So we're going to be eating very, very good.
Yeah.
I'm super excited. So I'll list them off. We got Silent Hill Townfall, we got Ascension, we got Silent Hill F, which, if you've ever had a report card, that's not a good grade, but you know what? I give Konami, A+++, because they're giving 4 games. But the one that we're all here for is Silent Hill 2 remake. And someone earlier, one of the marketing executives, they came out from Bloober Team. They came out and said that they're going to be sticking to the traditional story canon while remaking gameplay. So essentially, we're going to be modernizing some of the gameplay mechanics. We know it's going to be, over-the-shoulder gameplay, which is new for the Silent Hill series. If you're looking at the first 4 games, so. I think what we need to see is gameplay.
Yeah.
We need to see gameplay footage. And I mentioned this to you all off camera, that there was some leaked footage. It was like a few seconds long of gameplay footage that was leaked. Honestly, wasn't that impressive? Wasn't that impressive?
The bar is high right now with Resident Evil 4 remake.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like Resident Evil 4 remake, because of that?
Dead Space remake, like the bar is so high for all these.
Yeah. Okay, look, don't compare it to its older brother.
Why? It's completely fair and legal.
I don't like that. I want this to stand alone, but I think it's in good hands. I know there's been a lot of skepticism from fans of the Silent Hill franchise with Bloober Team handling this, but I mean they've got a good track record of covering working on horror games. So we got Blair Witch, we got Layers of Fear. So I'm a little bit optimistic. I think it's in good hands.
Yeah. I mean I'm optimistic for it as well, but. The bar is high for remakes right now.
You and your butts. Don't. Why you got
butts?
The thing about remakes that's funny is that like there is simultaneously they have the thing going for them is that everyone knows what they are. They're sort of a safe bet, but also there's a pretty wide margin of like what a remake could be.
Yeah.
And one remake we've been hearing a lot about. A lot of rumors, a lot of rumblings, also from Konami, is of course Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater, which has been, people have been talking about this forever. It's been kind of, I feel like it's been getting kicked around the internet for a long time. And then most recently, I think it was last month before, Donna Burke, who is a voice actress who sings the Snake Eater theme song, posted a photo of her in a recording booth holding up a folder that just said like Snake Eater, and it had like a cat with an eye patch on it. And I was like, that's a little bit on the nose.
What is it? Can you refresh the audience? How does the Snake Eater theme song
I'm not going to do that.
Please.
Snake Eater.
And then it's anyway. But yeah, basically she posted that, which is like, okay, maybe she's got like a keepsake thing that's a new project. Totally misleading. And then there's another photo of like her in the studio, and people zoomed in, and on the recording like desk, whatever, there's just the lyrics to Snake Eater printed out there. So people are like, that seems like pretty telling. That seems like a thing. So there's been a lot of murmuring about that. I have mixed feelings about this. Obviously, a lot of people do because Konami's kind of in the doghouse from how they had a very, very public falling out with Metal Gear creator Hideo Kojima. Yeah. But at the same time, I think people would totally jump on this. But again, there's the Silent Hill 2 issue where like, will it be enough of a... will it be the remake people want, you know?
Right.
Because like Resident Evil 4, I feel like Resident Evil 4 and Dead Space set such a high bar for what people expect. You know, it really is like, it is getting a new prescription in your rose-tinted glasses. You know, it's making things look as good as they were when you first played them. If you change too much, you wanted like a Twin Snakes problem where it's just like, it's, you know, if you redesign the game while keeping its sort of skeleton in place, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't work right, you know?
Right.
So,
yeah.
You know, and then there's a whole ship of Theses. If you, how much can you remove before it becomes a new ship?
Yeah. Max, why start with Metal Gear Solid 3?
Metal Gear Solid 3 makes perfect sense as a starter because despite the 3 in the name, it is chronologically the earliest one in the series. It's also the best, I think.
Gameplay-wise, yeah.
It's not my favorite, but it's the best. Like, I objectively recognize that.
Yep.
So, I don't know. I'm hoping we see this. I really, you know, I was ready to like smear ashes on my face because I thought the Metal Gear franchise was entirely dead. But if Konami's, you know, dusting it off and you know, cloning it or what have you, like, you know, excited to see where that goes.
Yeah, honestly, I'm excited for. Hopefully, we get this. I mean, the thing is, like, I feel like Konami is really, you know, they're trying to bring back those old properties, and so I'm hoping we see something from Metal Gear Solid.
Well, they don't have to make them themselves. They can just farm them out.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. You know, just all I want is a Metal Gear game that isn't a pachinko machine. So anyway, we need to take a quick break, but stick around because when we come back, we're going to break down what else Sony has cooking that we might see. IGN Summer of Gaming PlayStation Showcase pre-show. We'll be right back after this.
IGN Summer of Gaming is presented by Lenovo Legion with 13th Gen Intel Core processors. Beyond performance.
Tune into IGN 1 on your smart TVs for the latest news on your favorite releases, gameplay exclusives, and all the entertainment you can handle.
Cinefix on IGN 1, your friendly Friday night home for film fanaticism.
You're watching The Weekly Fix, ready to fill you in on anything you may have missed in the world of gaming and entertainment.
Welcome to Should I Play This? This is what to watch here on IGN 1.
Find it all in one place for free on IGN 1.
They turned into a network. Who knew?
If you're not following IGN on social media, what are you waiting for? We're constantly updating our feeds to bring you the latest news, gameplay, custom original content, memes, the best user-generated videos and art, and a whole lot more. Be part of the conversation throughout the year. Follow IGN on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, and Snapchat.
Welcome to Super Debatable. When you got big takes on superheroes as hot as ours, well, you need a place to vent them.
And that's exactly what we'll be doing week after week on Super Debatable, arguing over the most divisive topics facing fans.
The MCU, that multiversal mess peaked years ago. It's all downhill from here.
James Gunn and Peter Safran should absolutely nuke the Snyderverse. We could argue about this all day.
And we will. Join us on Super Debatable Fridays on IGN. Now, it's time to level up your experience on IGN by checking out IGN Rewards, our online getaway for IGN members where you get access to exclusive discounts, beta access for the hottest upcoming games, plus a 10% discount at the IGN store. Now, our community is 2.7 million members strong, and we're always looking for new recruits. Plus, it's all free, so go to IGN.com/rewards and join the growing IGN community to level up your online experience today.
And we're back. This is IGN Summer of Gaming, and we are counting down to Sony's big PlayStation showcase. Be sure to stick around afterwards because we will be recapping everything we saw, replaying the trailers, and then talking over them to point out all the little details that you might have missed, and then arguing about whether or not those details are correct, and then probably getting in like a little fisticuffs. I don't know. Anyway, we just talked about some first-party games, some third-party games. One thing we should probably address is the first-party hardware that Sony shipped earlier this year,
right.
The PlayStation VR 2. We just found out this morning that it is actually selling better than the first PlayStation VR comparatively in terms of its, you know, where it is in its life cycle.
Yeah.
Jada, Akeem, You both own one of these.
Yeah.
How do you feel as a PSVR owner? Do you feel you've been supported? How has it been as an early adopter? Akeem?
Well,
do you want to go first?
I mean, I'll go first since I'm the only one that has unboxed your PSVR 2 hardware.
It's a good time. I'll do it when I'm ready, Akeem.
Well, hopefully something in this showcase will have you unbox your PSVR 2. But no, I've been happy with it so far. But that was at launch, so it's been like a few months now, and there hasn't been any games that have really moved me or compelled me to pick up my PSVR 2, and it's an expensive item, and I haven't picked it up in recent weeks. And I was saying this to you all, like weeks ago that I got so excited with VR that I decided to dust off my Quest 2 and just play some games on Steam. I think that's one of the things that we kind of need with the PSVR 2. We need some PC compatibility, you know, or we need we also need a larger game library for this hardware. And what I'm hoping is we get like some first party IPs. We need more than Horizon. We need more than Horizon.
Yeah, that's so far, right?
We need more than Horizon. Call of the Mountain. I don't want to. Call of the Mountain 2 Total Recall, whatever it's going to be called.
What game, if you can think of one, or what idea would make you just rip out a box cutter and immediately set up that PSVR 2?
I'm glad you asked, Max. I need an Astrobots game. I need Astrobots for PSVR 2. Like, it was such a big one on PSVR 1. I need that. Chat is saying Knack. I don't know if Knack would be a big one to get me to open my VR headset. It might make me send it back, but I would love to see that. I would love to see a Wipeout, since they've already done a great job with Gran Turismo 7. And then maybe a Siphon Filter. Give me Siphon Filter in VR. That'd be kind of a cool.
Throw a little Half-Life Alyx in there.
Yeah, Half-Life Alyx. There we go. That's a big one.
I was going to say, like,
an easy one.
Somebody at Sony's got to be going through like the greatest hits of stuff
VR
that's already out there in VR and being like, hey, what if it had silly haptics for your forehead? What about that? Anyway, yeah, that's something we know we're going to see. Sony has promised we're going to see more PSVR 2 stuff. Just curious how much of the showcase is going to be dedicated to that, because it is, despite having a larger install base than the first one, still kind of a niche thing. Now, we mentioned FromSoft's various Soulsborns, and sadly how we're not going to see Bloodborne 2, but I feel like there's a good chance that we see Armored Core 6, Fires of Rubicon. Brian, where do you think we're at on this? Like, what's your read on Armored Core?
We saw a little bit of it recently, and it just looked stunning. I was genuinely taken aback at how good this game looks. And this is coming from someone who is, like I said earlier, like diehard Soulsborne fan, but modern FromSoft fan, right? I wasn't really there playing the original Armored Core, and lots of people have just said to me, like, it's obtuse, it's tricky, it's difficult, it will kick your ass. And I'm like, yeah, I know. This is what I signed up for with this studio. So I really can't wait to see how this game's coming along. I know there's a lot of hardcore Armored Core fans out there in the IGN community that want to see more of this game. And I'm ready for it. Like, I don't know what it's going to entail moment to moment once I get in there, how much like actual strenuous work it's going to be to keep my mech from getting exploded. But I'm ready to fight giant, disturbing creature beast monster things in the shape of robots that will kick my butt. I can't wait for it. It looks awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I love big robots, and I have loved recent FromSoft games, and this has got to be something that they're dealing with, is like, how do you find that balance between, something that'll hook newer FromSoft fans and, diehard fans of the original stuff. And it's, there's also, I don't know, I love that they're known for these like hardcore games, but they also ship Deracine, the PSVR fairy finding game, or whatever, which was just like, okay, sure, why not? Now, I mean, it is also weird to see, like, it's got a 6 in the name,
Yeah.
Like, you'd think that this long since the last installment, they would just, write it off as a reboot to not scare off newcomers. But, we'll have to wait and see. One thing that we know we're getting for PlayStation 5 this year is Baldur's Gate 3, which has been in the works for quite some time. This is Larian Studios, who did the Divinity Original Sin games. Love those games. It's really cool to see them kind of throwing their hat into the sort of D&D ring. This was announced as I think a Stadia launch title back in 2020.
Oh, wow.
It actually had an early access phase on Stadia before Stadia came and went. But we know this is actually finally, approaching completion. I think it's going to be in a year filled with way too many gigantic games already. I think this is going to be one of those ones where you kind of can't see the bottom. I think it's going to be really, really crazy and huge and deep. And yeah, I mean, I'm also kind of stoked that Sony scooped this up as a console exclusive. Like, I think it's coming to Xbox later on down the road. But also, I don't know. It's not sure what the sort of vibe is, if it's going to gel with PlayStation players. But I'm happy to get our hands on it.
Yeah, not going to turn down a giant, open world RPG like
seriously.
this.
Now, one RPG we do know will gel with PlayStation fans because it always has is Final Fantasy VII. Jada, do you think we're going to get a release date for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth?
I mean, we're expected to get it at the end of the year this year. That's what is scheduled
the game
right
or the
now.
release date?
Both. Oh, they're going to both come at the same day. Same day. We're like, hey, it's coming out at the end of the year, and by the end of the year, we mean today. No, I hope we get a release date today. I feel like Rebirth, we probably won't get a whole lot of news today just because 16 is out next month. But who knows, maybe during the Final Fantasy 16 segment, if there is one, we'll get some more Rebirth news as well. I would love that. I want to see what we're going to do in Rebirth segment. I want to see how they handle the open world segments.
Yep.
I want to see, which party members we're going to be able to add. Are we going to be able to finish our party in part 2? Are we going to lose Aerith? Who knows? Spoilers if you haven't played Final Fantasy VII. Sorry, the game's like 30 years old. But yes, maybe not that old, but whatever. It's old. But yeah, I hope we get some more Final Fantasy VII Rebirth stuff.
My daughter is 2 years old. I have a Final Fantasy music box. Every night I wind it up and I go, Aerith dies.
Traumatizing
about that. Anyway, another huge RPG is Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, and that is supposedly getting a remake. We've been hearing about, they got a trailer, a very cool trailer. There's also been a lot of rumors behind the scenes that it's had issues in development, that there was sort of a demo shown off internally that wasn't where it needed to be. I think it switched developers. I can't remember if that was officially announced or if it was just sort of, industry gossip. But that is it's a beloved, one of the best RPGs of all time. People adore it. So if you're going to remake it, you really can't screw it up. And then on top of that, there's the added factor that this is a PlayStation 5 exclusive. It is published by EA, so big, massive, publisher. And then, of course, it's a Disney property. So you've got all these different factors, not necessarily working against it, but it's like, that's a lot of moving parts, and it's, it's also one of those ones, like, if you screw it up even a little bit, people are going to be, foaming at the mouth because it's KOTOR. People adore it.
Yeah. I got to ask a quick question. Over or under 5, we're going to see 5 remakes during this showcase.
Oh, man.
That's good.
I'm going to go with 3.
3?
3 remakes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to go over.
Over?
I'm going to go over.
I'm going to get over
6
5?
remakes?
We're going to get 7 remakes.
7 remakes?
7 remakes.
Final Fantasy 7 remakes?
Exactly. There you go. You caught my joke. Thank you. You get me, Brian.
All right, so the show is supposedly going to start in about 3 minutes. We're just waiting for that to happen.
It's an hour long.
Yeah. It's an hour long.
Hour.
I think that's enough room to fit in 5 remakes. I'm with you, Akeem. I think we're going to see 5 remakes.
I'm thinking a solid 5.
It could also be, I think there might be 5, and we're really excited about it. And we find out that one thing that gets announced is actually a remake of a thing we didn't know was a remake in the first place. I don't know.
And maybe 10. I'm thinking 10 new IPs possibly.
10 new IPs.
Really?
I mean, like, what they want it to be 50-50 by 2025, right?
Right.
PlayStation, they want to have, like, at least half of their catalog is new IPs.
How many games that are only just a logo are we going to get today?
What, they're not Kevin Feige in the MCU. We're not going to get a bunch of logos.
Oh, yeah, just get in front of a giant wall.
We might get a logo or two. It's very possible.
We got Venom Christmas. We got Final Fantasy.
I really do hope we get if Spider-Man 2 has its own Miles Morales, it's just called Venom's Christmas.
That would be great.
That would be a wonderful holiday special.
I would watch that.
I love that.
He needs to open up gifts. He deserves it.
Yeah.
He does.
We're definitely going to see Venom today. Will we see Carnage?
Ooh.
No, they got to save something for a third one. Or I could be wrong. They might have Carnage as the big. I don't know.
Well, I mean, like, according to the voice of Miles Morales, there's symbiotes everywhere.
Yeah.
Yes,
they're everywhere
in the game. So
maybe. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I'm curious if we're going to see any Ubisoft stuff, because Ubisoft often shows off new things in the in other people's conferences and stuff. That historically was the thing in E3, but maybe not so much sort of post fall of E3, pandemic, whatever. And there's the Ubisoft Forward event coming up on June 12th, so they could save everything for that. Or they could do the thing they used to do where they're like, here's a little snippet of Assassin's Creed. Tune in a week to check out the full gameplay showcase we're going to reveal.
Fall of E3 Pandemic does sound like a Ubisoft game.
It seriously does.
The Division 3.
Fall of E3 Pandemic. Yeah.
We are so close now.
It's getting any second now.
Any second now. We are going to get an hour of brand new.
Yes, stay tuned because you are going to be treated to a bunch of video game goodness.
This feels so good. This is that E3 feeling that I was
Yes.
Yeah, we've been missing this.
2021 was the last time we got one of these.
I know.
It's freaking insane.
Crazy.
Yes.
Like,
so
This is no state of play.
This isn't a state of play. No, this is the big leagues.
We're getting close. We're getting close.
We're not stringing you along watching at home. We are also watching at work and trying to wait for it to start. And I don't know why they would be late. Like, I think theoretically this is just a, like an MPEG file they have to upload. Probably MP4 because it's not 1996.
No, I think it's a GIF. We're looking at a GIF. That's what this is.
They got to upload that Windows Media Video file. Installed.
Someone has a UMD that they're trying to put into their.
And for all you in the chat throwing out trans stuff with other titles, yes, I hope they make Wolverine trans. Yes, I hope they make Metal Gear trans. Yes, give us all of them. Yeah. Yes, give it to us.
Go for it.
Go nuts.
Just give us the showcase already.
Just start the thing. Do it. Please.
Hit play, station. What are you doing?
Okay, so here's the thing. I hope the Wolverine game starts and it just opens. It's like a cold open, and it's just a Weapon X training facility. You are butt-naked Wolverine. You're running around. You're killing scientists. You're doing all this stuff, and it teaches you how to use all this stuff. It teaches you about its healing factor.
Yeah.
It shooting you with guns. It teaches you about how to climb walls. That's the tutorial, and then hard cut. Wolverine wakes up in a cold sweat. You're done with the tutorial, and the game goes. That's it. That's what I want to see.
I think that's.
Yeah, there we go.
Here we go.
Here we go, guys. First trailer.
Here it goes. It's off. It's happening. It's starting. I think. Is it? All right, take it away.
Then you can't flaunt it. Pull up Lamborghini and Sony. Pull up Lamborghini.
Hi everyone, I'm Jim Ryan, President and CEO of Sony Interactive Entertainment. I'm delighted to be here today to introduce what's next for PlayStation 5. We're now into the third year of the life cycle of PS5, and we've been fortunate to have so many fan-favorite titles released on the platform. What's even more exciting is that developers are just scratching the surface of what's possible with the gaming experiences that they create. Today, you'll get a glimpse into some of the most breathtaking and imaginative content that will be coming to PS5 and PlayStation VR 2. And now, what you've all been waiting for. Enjoy the show.
Super Earth, our home, our way of life. But freedom doesn't come free.
No! Sweet liberty! No!
Look familiar? Scenes like these are happening all over the galaxy right now. And you could be next. That is, unless you make the most important decision of your life. Prove to yourself that you have the strength and the courage to be free. Join the Helldivers. Experience true freedom.
Requesting air support.
The freedom to travel the galaxy and secure the resources we need to build a better tomorrow. The freedom to encounter fascinating life forms and introduce them to our sophisticated technology. The freedom to make new friends and represent the best of what Super Earth has to offer. Become part of an elite peacekeeping force and work together to spread prosperity, liberty, and democracy. Become part of something larger than yourself. Become a hero. Become a legend. Become a Helldiver. Becoming a Helldiver may result in decapitation or mortification. Not all Helldivers survive.
Sir, it's the hand.
Follow, but do not engage.
Maybe engage a little.
Blades have established a stronghold, and Kirkin seems to think you might not get me killed. Jury's still out on that one.
Oh, shit! Oh, boy.
Last immortal.
Rosharnians haven't had enough yet?
We haven't given them enough yet.
Your men killed my family. Don't turn your back on me!
What's your plan? Knowing you have only 66 days to live. Just run away. It won't make any difference at the end of the day. You know better than anyone else that no one could escape.
Everyone wears a mask. You too.
This is a real face.
He let you live? What secret did you sell him?
Only a dead person can keep a secret.
Going where? This damn place. You're suicidal.
One last toast. And we're all done.
Patience is the key, Master. Time is not on his side. All we have to do is wait. Yes. Let's kill him with time.
What's your plan? Knowing you have only 66 days to live.
Get my heart back.
new world awaits you, full of dangers and mysteries, signs and wonders, things that I in my garden could never have imagined.
Think of the world we could build if we believed in ourselves. If we truly believed in what it means to be sentient. To face the universe without fear or delusion. Imagine vast cities full of life and light. Great towers rising towards the sky. So much would be possible if we believed, if we still had faith.
Ready for the Foam Star Party?
Welcome to the land of Mojo. Here we find Jot, the plucky squire, and his friends, Violet, Thrash, and Pip. Our heroes protect the land from the villainous sorcerer, Humgrump. They adventure to the edges of their realm, and even beyond. There, Jot finds a whole new world to explore, with dangers, surprises, and attractively furnished accommodation. Our heroes must battle Humgrump across the two realms if they are to save their beloved land from his diabolical designs. Off the page and into adventure. Off the page and into adventure.
in silence through the night. What a thrill. I'm searching and I'll melt into you. What a fear in my heart.
Janur impaton alastulos. Onjashin kuhukaru ulinkin.
Blind marches on. These people live with a knife to their throat.
You have to believe us. We'd help you if we could.
But you're helping us already.
We never asked to be saved. Did you think we'd thank you? They'll never forgive us. We're all marked now.
Every time you show your faces, it is we who suffer.
So sharp. You'd better hope so.
Crystals take more than they give.
You mean to tell me that the mother crystals are the reason the world is dying?
To hell with talking. If they won't give us a say, we'll decide our fates another way. Are you with me? You will pay for what you've done.
Why aren't you dead? You was branded.
Tell me true. Do you believe what I'm about to do is wrong?
I was forced to kill. You do it by choice.
They don't believe in me. They believe in the power of the dominant.
You can't blame a man for wanting to bring an end to all this, can you?
Ever led astray by your blind resolve.
And thus is the night of hope severed.
We don't need your salvation. We'll save ourselves, and we'll do it on our own terms.
Come to me, Ifrit!
Who are we? What are the dominants? We are but mighty acts of God.
Enough of this. I use my talent to my advantage, and you would tell me there is shame in that?
We shared a dream.
I would be the king of the world.
Darkness has taken hold of you. It has made you forget yourself.
I don't want to be a monster. Clive.
I have to stop him. I have to save them.
I made a promise to my friends, and it is they who will give me the strength to end your reign. Your efforts will avail us naught. We fight, we survive, we endure. We don't need a reason.
Fight!
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 I'm trapped here. In this nightmare. I write to escape. Every word is a step forward. Into darkness.
I'm glad you're on this case with me, Anderson. It's right up your alley.
The victim was one of their own. FBI Special Agent Robert Nightingale.
So you knew our victim?
Only the rumors. He was chasing a writer.
Someone knew they were here. Was playing a game with them.
Killer left a message.
It's for us. The text is about us.
We were all trapped in a horror story. The horror story wanted us dead. There's something. I'm forgetting. Something important. Something's not right!
Easy now. First things first. What's your name?
Welcome, Hidden One. You have died and been reborn.
We need to find a way to get you inside without being seen. You could bribe the guards to look the other way.
I shall see what flavor best suits me.
Embrace the fear. Quiet it. Find the stillness. And let's go. The stage is yours, Basim. We will be watching.
crossed paths with many during my journey for true strength. I've also met my share of enemies, opponents I had to overcome. My journey knows no end. I will continue to do what I have always done.
When you said you were seeking strength, despite having no real need to do so, honestly, I thought you were a complete idiot.
Masters, you were set up.
I'm not nearly strong enough to chase after a monster like that.
It's probably worth looking into this nice shawl business.
That power seemed to be the Satsui no Hado. Was it simply a trick of the senses?
Bison, he attempted to set the world under his heel through violence. A veritable madman.
When you go looking for strength, it's not like a game. This journey doesn't have a real ending.
Street Fighter 6.
forgotten that you protected me from the dragon's flames.
You need only believe in your own destiny, Arisa.
Of course, that begs the question. If he's a mere mummer, then where might our true Arisa?
Empress Nadinia's life is in your hands, Sir Arisa.
Praise be, for only the Sovereign's guidance can lead us true. Long live the Sovereign of Vermont!
Welcome back for another week of career fulfillment and minimal social interaction. We know how challenging it can be to find a place where you feel that you truly belong, and to find a job that treats you mostly with respect and only infrequently with contempt. For that reason, we are excited to inform you that you did an adequate enough job the first time around to have you back. Also, there were no other applicants. So strap yourself in and get motivated to an appropriate degree. Because you ain't seen nothing yet.
Gone.
Forgive me, Father, for I've sinned. Like, a lot. You see, everything started 2 years ago, when I met Fred. And ever since then, it's like I see his face everywhere. And lately, I've started to develop some destructive tendencies. Whoosh! What do we have here? Well, what's a bit of harmless fun? Hello, uglies. Blah, 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 blah. And since I met my new best friend, I guess I get a little overprotective. Okay, very overprotective. I'd love to sit here all day and chew your ear off. I'll be right out, boy. But as you know, time waits for no man. Catch you later, Fred. Who's a good boy? Woo! Looks like today's gonna be a scorcher.
Target is Colonel Peter Conrad. He was one of ours before he went rogue. We intercepted comms chatter referring to neurosynaptic tech, but they've gone dark. I don't have to remind you what's at stake here. We need that intel by any means necessary. It's connected to a mind synchronization device. This is cutting-edge interrogation tech. We're out of time and out of options. We've got to go in.
Yet another lamb to the slaughter. Well, come on then. Let's see what you're made of. Impressive. I'll admit, you made a good team on the battlefield. Don't forget it. This is my mind, my war, my rules.
I need you to focus. The clock is ticking. You have to adapt.
Back again? Pathetic! Your heroics mean nothing!
You're getting close. You're approaching the center of his subconscious.
You think you're a threat to me?
I'll never talk! They'll never break me!
Good time, I'm having a ball.
I don't even know where to begin. You've missed so much. We've slain gods. Vanquished nightmares. Fought alongside those who we once fought against. I wish you could have been there.
Yeah, me too, kiddo. But hey, I'm here now. Wherever the hell here is.
Contract site coming up. 15 seconds. 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3. Regunners, here we go.
The best Gran Turismo players in the world will compete for a place in racing history.
Thank you for joining us today. Before we get into our final game, I have a few announcements to share. At PlayStation, innovation is our passion, and that applies to not just what games you play, but how you play them. Later this year, we will launch a dedicated device that enables you to stream any game from your PS5 console using remote play over Wi-Fi. Internally known as Project Q, it has an 8-inch HD screen and all of the buttons and features of the DualSense wireless controller. We look forward to sharing more information in the near future. I'm also pleased to reveal our first ever PlayStation earbuds, which will bring next generation audio immersion to PS5 and PC. They simultaneously connect to smartphones via Bluetooth. New wireless technology will deliver lossless audio with low latency, giving you outstanding sound quality while you're playing. Look out for more details soon. We hope today's showcase demonstrates our continued commitment to delivering experiences that surprise and delight our players. I want to thank all of you for your unwavering support for PlayStation.
Slow in your old age, Sergei.
A fate you will not share. I've been in your shadow for hours, but you sense nothing. Pathetic. I asked for an equal. And this is what you find.
Sir, perhaps a new hunting ground.
Light the fires. The great hunt begins.
Lizard sighted in Queens. Closing in now.
Cover the door. The beast could be anywhere.
You have no idea.
This whole lizard hunt ends now! Leave Connors alone! Crazy wants a hunt? I'll give him one he'll never forget! He's gonna wish he never came to New York!
Stand by and take orders. Satellite scanning all active feeds. Triangulating position. Target located at Harlem Fish Market. All teams converge.
Lizard's across the river. I'm not gonna make it in time. Miles, the hunters tracked Connors to the Harlem Fish Market.
Lizard. I'm on it. Sounds like Craven's checking our business.
We don't have much time. Move.
Guess we'll chat later? Genki, the lizard's loose at the fish market.
Must be sushi night.
You still got that hunter drone you hijacked?
Been really tough hiding it from my mom, but yeah, I'll boot up and see you there.
They got here fast. Can't let him find Connors, or he's done for.
Spread out. If you find the lizard, don't engage alone.
Look at those fish. It's been feeding.
Never saw it coming. So, how's the hunt going?
Watch out, guard his little paws!
Judging by the 3 tons of dead fish, not well. All right. Where are you, Connors? Garage might lead to him. Connors tore through this place. He's out of control. find now? How'd you find me?
Follow the fish. Drone's picking up Lizard's trail.
He's still eating. We can catch him off guard. Genki, get behind me. It's just his skin.
Doesn't that mean he's getting bigger?
Hungrier too. Whoa. Hey, man. New threats?
The building's swarming with hunters. Any sign of Connors?
Yeah. Genki's tracking him.
Hey, Mr. Parker. Mr. Spider-Man, I mean.
But the date isn't complete.
Okay, I think I got a lock.
Genki, wait! Be chill!
Not a river, but in fact a saltwater tidal flat. Spider-Man is fighting on right now! Everybody down!
Help the tour boat! Right! I've got the metal murder bird!
I warned you about going after Connors. Now this is on you. Poison clouds. That all you got?
Almost done here. Civilians are all safe. How you looking?
This gunship won't quit.
I'm right behind you. We'll take it down together.
No time. I got you. Time to go boom, boys.
Oh, no. Spider-Man has got defenses. Spider-Man, hang on.
Over there! The one with the tendrils! Move!
Grab on! Let's go! Right behind you!
I know!
Whoa! Be faster!
Fly faster! I do not want to be lizard food!
Got him! Hold on! Look out!
Everyone, take cover!
What are you guys doing?
Trying to take out that gunship! Can't get close enough!
But I can. And one of them, remember?
Bro, that's it! Pete! Alley-oop on 3?
Fine.
1, 2, 3, Alley! Woo!
He got away from us.
It's good, Pete. I saved the tracker. Let's go, man, before he gets too far.
No. He's mine.
You sure? He's got big teeth.
So do I.
He's not normally like that, right? No. He's never like that.
Maybe engage a little.